We're dinking around with Eddie and Webby. Dinking around with Eddie and Webby tonight.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so for the last time, if everybody else is at the kitchen line and you're back at the baseline and you're about to hit the ball, this is what I call the do not attempt a lob zone, all right? Oh, hey, how's it going? This is Webby, not Eddie.
And I'm Eddie. This is our 89th Dinking Around.
Oh, yeah, episode number 89.
Webby, I like it. I feel like you're trying to coach a team. Is that why you got that board and everything? You're a new pickleball coach?
That's my new goal in life, is to become a pickleball coach.
I love it.
Not really. I saw it on Amazon and I thought it was cool, so I bought it.
That's pretty cool. You know what else is cool? If you're going to be coaching people on your team, the first thing you need to do is make sure that they have the right paddle. Would you agree with that?
I would agree.
Well, there's only one company you can go to be able to do that, and that is our friends over at Valere Pickleball. They make some of the best pickleball paddles out there. Webby and I have been playing with them since before we partnered up with them. And I got to tell you, man, I played again last night, Webby, with my Control 1, and I am still loving that paddle. What have you been playing with lately?
Just like last time, I'm still going back and forth, the Mach 2 Forza and the Control 2 Forza. I love both those paddles, and I don't know for sure which one I would consider my go-to paddle right now. Like, I would say I'm maybe leaning a little more towards the Mach 2 Forza, but the Control 2 Forza is absolutely awesome too, so you really can't go wrong.
Wherever you're at in your pickleball journey, there's a paddle for you out there. And I got to tell you, you cannot go wrong with anything that Valere Pickleball sells. Here's what you should do. You should go to Valere.com, use coupon code PB for life to get what, Webby?
You will get yourself 10% off your order, and you will help show us some support in the process.
Big thank you to Valere Pickleball. The show would not be possible without them. Again, go check it out, Valere.com, coupon code PB for life.
That's right. Another thing this show would not be possible without is me asking you,
What in the world is in that drink? What you got in that drink?
Well, Webby, you know how I've been trying to clean out my fridge of all the beer lately?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we just got our garage floors re-epoxied today, and I can't get to the beer fridge, and I didn't think about that before this. So I'm going to be enjoying a cup of coffee for this. I'm feeling a little like I need some caffeine in my life, so I'm going to be enjoying some, I think this is hazelnut coffee, and it's delicious. So that's what I'm going to be sipping on today. What about you? What are you going to be enjoying?
So you may remember a few episodes ago, I drank some non-alcoholic Guinness.
Mm-hmm.
So today I decided to go with the full-blown real deal. And today I'll be drinking Guinness Extra Stout. I've been loving this lately. I know it's been around forever. It's a very popular beer, but I love it. It's just something I always like to keep in my fridge, and decided to sip on that for this episode.
You really cannot go wrong with Guinness. Let's cheers, my friend.
Cheers.
Actually, as I'm holding this up, Webby, I forgot that I have my pickleball mug. Look at this. I forgot how cool this is. There's me at the U.S. Open.
Oh,
There's
nice.
you and I at Grand Rapids. You and I at Beer City Open. Me when I won the first Eddie versus Webby championship. More you and I playing. There's me at the U.S. Open drinking my beer. There's you, me, and Dom Catalano. When Dom Catalano got to start commentating. There's me, Chad, and
Nice.
Simone. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I forgot about this mug.
I like that. That's a badass mug. And you mentioned how it shows you the first time winning the Eddie versus Webby championship. I can't remember who won the most recent Eddie versus Webby championship.
Oh, that would be you. Yeah.
Oh, that's
That would
right.
be
I have
you.
the belt behind me, as a matter of fact. I almost forgot about that.
I'm sure you too. Listen, I know that every night before you go to bed, you like polish the belt and you cherish it because, you haven't had it that much. So I get why you would be so proud of it.
I'm very proud of it. It's a sexy looking belt, and I pretty much plan on keeping it in my possession for the rest of eternity.
Well, honestly, by how much you are playing and how little I am playing, probably going to happen. So you know what we need to do? We need to stack the deck in my favor. We need to play some mixed doubles or something and give me a player that's significantly higher rated than the person you're playing with. And then that should even it out.
Yeah, well, you do get to pick the next stipulation, so it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Well, if you guys think of a good stipulation that I should put on our next match, put it down in the comments below. Let me know. What should I do to Webby to make sure that I have the advantage since honestly, Webby, the tables really have changed, man. I feel like for years I was pretty dominant in this competition, and the last two, man, like you're beating me. So congrats.
Yeah, well, thank you. I definitely used to be the underdog, and I feel like you can't say that anymore, but I don't know. I feel like I can never count Eddie out. You never know if he's going to get some training with Simone or something. You never know what he's got up his sleeve. So I definitely am never going to be too cocky going into it.
You shouldn't be. Before we move on to the next segment, though, Webby, I got to ask you, how excited are you to see NML Pickleball back in action?
Oh, man. Very excited. It has been far, far too long. And I was missing them big time.
Yeah, I mean, Slim and Gritty, if you guys haven't checked out NML Pickleball, they started a blog, God, what, 5-6 years ago now? I mean, it had to have been prior to COVID, right?
Yeah, because weren't they were guests on the old Eddie and Webby podcast, weren't they?
They were. I think that was right before the 2021 U.S. Open when we both made our picks of who we thought were going to win.
Yeah.
I teamed up with Slim, I think, and you teamed up with Gritty. Was that how it worked?
I believe so. That was super fun. We should try to get them back on. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm glad they're back in action. If you guys haven't checked out NML Pickleball, do it. It stands for No Man's Land Pickleball. Basically, they had taken a hiatus because they both were heavily involved in managing an MLP team. They're no longer managing that team, which means they have more time in their schedule and they have free reign to say whatever the hell they want. And guess what, guys? They say whatever the hell they want. And so I'm happy. I'm glad they're back.
Yep, I love to see it. So definitely check them out if you have never checked them out before.
Well, speaking of checking out, I just checked out my watch, and I think it's time.
Now it's time for Memes of the Week. Yeah!
That's right, it's Memes of the Week, not Memes of the Week, as Webby likes to call it, because he's a big dum-dum. It's Memes of the Week. Pickleball Podcast's hottest segment. There is not a hotter segment out there in anybody else's Pickleball podcast. I guarantee it. Webby, what meme have you got for us this week?
Well, this one comes from an account we have never showed before. In fact, I just recently found it, and he's got some great content. And this is from Wesley Hansen. He goes by WestDogPB on Instagram, and this is called Me. Pickleball is good for my mental health. Also me.
I literally hate myself. Like, that's not even a joke. I hate who I am. Nice shot, idiot. Nice drop, dude. You genuinely don't deserve anything good in life anymore. I mean, this is torture, and I choose to do this constantly, every day of my life. Good game, y'all. Hate those dudes. Cool.
That's awesome. So true, though, right?
Very, very true. Yeah, because I say that all the time. Like, pickleball is a great release. It's great for my mental health because I get out, I'm physically active and stuff like that. But then I make boneheaded moves, and I just absolutely hate myself when I do them.
Yeah. It's hard not to be tough on yourself when you do stupid stuff like that.
Yeah, but very nicely done, Wes. I'm sure we will see more videos from you in the future, so definitely keep it up.
Did you see that the paddle he threw was old school paddle tech prior to the design change? And what was that, 2020? I don't remember when we had Curtis on the podcast, but it's been a little while. That's a classic, bro.
Yeah.
Don't be throwing that paddle, man. Savor that thing
Right.
because that's like old school paddle tech. When I see that, there is a sense of nostalgia that comes up in me that reminds me of pickleball back in the days when it was innocent and fun before the tour wars and all this money and crap came in and started to really ruin the game. It reminds me of the good days of pickleball.
I totally agree. Yeah, I get a very nostalgic feeling when I see the old paddle tech paddles. I feel like that paddle is something we could see in a museum one of these days, the Pickleball Museum.
And you're just chucking it into trees there, West Dog. Come on.
Man, oh man. But I thought that was great. But what about you, Eddie? What do you got for us today?
Well, Webby, have you seen the new rules that PPA has put out when it comes to targeting, hitting your opponent's shoulders or above at all?
I have seen a little bit about that. Mm-hmm.
So simply put, PPA for professionals. If you are, intentionally or recklessly hitting or targeting your opponent from the shoulders up, it's a $2,500 fine. And if you do it again, I think it's a $5,000 fine. And if you retaliate after your opponent doing that to you, it's a $5,000 fine. So they're really like making sure that, people are not intentionally using these ridiculously hot paddles and ridiculously fast ball to hurt each other, right? Because as you can tell, the sport has changed. If you go back and watch videos from years ago. Anyway, long story short, there's now a fine associated with it. And Memes of Pickleball found a pretty funny moment where that fine was talked about. And this is titled, "That's a Fine is Hilarious."
Sorry.
That's a fine.
It's so funny, man. That's a fine. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I like how the players are having fun with that,
Right. But that does actually bring up a question, like how are they supposed to determine if it was intentional? I mean, I'm sure there's sometimes where it can be pretty obvious, but like what's to say that one was not intentional? I mean, who's the decision maker on determining if something was intentional or not?
Well, anytime you have rules like this, right, where you can't prove intent, it is very hard. And I think that pickleball has to find ways to be able to remove that ambiguity and not make it an objective call or subjective. I don't know. Basically, to make it to where it's a very black and white rule, because now it does. It requires somebody to interpret the intent of that. And obviously, in that situation, that's not what happened. But I do think it's funny. Obviously, Pescatone was her partner, and he responded with, "Whoever her partner is needs to pay the fine." I agree with you, buddy. You got your partner set up. I don't think you intentionally did it, and you were just recovering, but way to own that.
Good response.
Yeah, I love it, man.
If you guys know of any good memes or meme makers that you want us to show off in the future, please let us know in the comments below. But does everybody know what time it is?
Now it's time for Topics of the Week.
That's right, Topics of the Week, where Eddie and I each bring a topic to discuss. So, Eddie, what's on your mind this week?
Webby, I got to tell you, man, I had a great time at an event recently where Close Call Replay was hired to do challenges. And you might have heard of it. It was this little event called the Pickleball Slam 3, live from the Michelob Ultra Arena at Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada. Did you get a chance to check it out?
I did. I watched the entire thing live as it happened. I've become a really big fan of that event. I watched the previous two. I loved both of them. Thought they were super fun. And I was excited to tune into this one.
That was pretty cool. This is now my second one. We did Close Call Replay. Actually, the first event that we ever did with Close Call Replay was at Pickleball Slam 2 last year in Hollywood, Florida. And so Kyle Slinko and we got to work at that. But Kyle also did Pickleball Slam 1. Prior to us starting Close Call Replay, Kyle kind of had an offshoot of Boxcar Productions where he had a 60 frames per second system to be able to do line challenges. And he was actually hired to do Pickleball Slam 1. So he's been at all three of them, which is really cool. This was only my second. But Webby, I got to tell you, man, this one was the biggest production by far, and by far the biggest production I've ever been a part of. I don't know if that came through in the broadcast or not, because I haven't had a chance to watch the whole thing, but it was massive.
I did get the sense that this one was had a bigger budget. It seemed like more of a grand type of event. And for anybody tuning in that's not familiar with it, how would you describe what these Pickleball Slam events are?
So it's basically $1 million that goes to a charity. Andre Agassi has been kind of running the show with all three of them. The players for this event were Andre Agassi, Steffi Graf, Andy Roddick, Jeannie Bouchard, John Isner, and Marty Fish. And I got to tell you, in the last two, the level of play from most of the people on the court was just not great. You could tell that they made a lot of tennis mistakes, and it was just, I don't know, it wasn't the best level of play. But I don't know what the hell happened, but Andre Agassi, man, he knows how to play pickleball now, and it showed. Oh, yeah. And so Andy Roddick he's talked trash about pickleball in the past, right? To see in that very first match, Agassi beat Roddick in 2 games in singles made me the happiest guy in the world because I guess he's got at least, 20 years on Roddick?
Yeah, something like that.
And in singles, 20 years, that's a big gap in your ability to perform out on the pickleball court. And he smoked him pretty good in those 2 games and won that first match. So I was very happy about that.
Yeah, I was definitely rooting for Andre because I know that he's definitely been a bigger supporter of pickleball than a lot of the pro tennis players, especially Roddick. So, yeah, I was very happy to see Andre wipe the floor with Roddick.
That was pretty cool. I got to tell you, though, the person that I was most impressed with was Marty Fish, right? I expected John Isner and Jeannie Bouchard to play at a pretty decent level simply because, well, Jeannie's playing professionally now. She's doing pretty well in singles. She hasn't done incredibly well in doubles, but I think she could get there eventually. John Isner played for a little while professionally, and I know he hasn't done that very much, but I just think with how tall he is, his body style it's not the right body style for pickleball. It's much more appropriate for tennis. But they know the game. They obviously, know it really well. So I was expecting them to do fairly decent. But Marty Fish, never seen him play before. I really think if that guy spent a year training for pickleball, he could start to do some damage within the pro tour. What did you think of seeing him play?
Yeah, I thought he did great. And just like you said, I feel like the quality of play this year was way better than the previous 2. I feel like some of the rallies, it seemed like stuff you would see in the PPA. It seemed like some of the top-notch pros because they had just great hands battles, especially the singles matches, and then the doubles matches, the mixed doubles matches they had. Yeah, I was impressed with everybody. I felt like everybody took it a lot more serious this year than they had in the previous couple installments.
I agree. I thought it was great, but I got to tell you, man, this was probably one of the most stressful situations I've ever been involved in. Not because of the production, not because of any other reason, except for the fact that the event was on a Sunday. Our equipment was being freighted from Wisconsin to Las Vegas. It was supposed to arrive there on Thursday, so 3 days before the event. It was guaranteed to be there on Friday, 2 days before the event. And the day before the event, when I arrived, our equipment was not there.
Oh, no.
Swear to God.
Oh,
was not
man.
there. And I don't know if you've ever dealt with a freight company before, or if you guys listening or watching have. They don't work on the weekends, man. 5:01 p.m. on Friday, their chairs are spinning as they're running out the door. So there's nobody there to answer any calls. There's nobody to be able to tell us where the heck our equipment is. It's a day after the guaranteed date, and there's nothing. So,
oh, man.
This is kind of crazy. I was there. Royce, for those of you guys that have ever been working with Close Call Replay, I'm sure you know who Royce is. He's part of our team. It was just him and I, and Kyle wasn't planning on being there for this event, but he, within like a 2-hour notice at home, put together our 120 frames per second system that we used to use on Grandstand Court for Major League Pickleball, started throwing it together into big Pelican cases that he could fly with. I'm FaceTiming him where he's transferring components from one computer to another computer that he can fly with, in a backpack, talking through what equipment we need, scrounging, right? Because literally everything we had for our 240 frames per second system was in the middle of Illinois for all we knew.
Oh, man.
So,
wow.
And listen, man, Kyle, he threw it all together, raced to the airport, got there just in time, flew to Vegas. Like, he woke up that morning thinking it was just going to be another Saturday. And literally by 9 p.m. Vegas time, right, which is almost midnight from what I'm used to, was at the venue with our 120 frames per second system, while Royce and I are running to Best Buy and Guitar Center to buy whatever equipment we could.
Wow.
It was the most stressful experience I've ever had in my entire life when it comes to
I can't imagine. I would be crapping my pants and puking simultaneously just from the stress.
It was so bad. And there was a lot to ride on this because I'm sure you saw that the Electric State, which is that new Netflix series, they put a lot of money into this event to help promote that series. And not only did they show ads during it, but they also had those robots on the sidelines that were pretty entertaining. Did you get a chance to see that too?
Yeah, I did see that. And I wanted to ask you about that. Like, did you guys know about that going into it, or was that a surprise to you that they were going to be doing that kind of thing?
That was a surprise to us. A very happy surprise because I got to tell you so there was a company that actually made these robots and they used them to help promote obviously the electric state, and they were super cool. And the people that were working on them, the engineers that were there, they were so cool and so fun to work with. It was a great group of people. I wish I remember the name of the company, Webby, because I would love to give them a shout out. And I encourage you to go do some research because one of the girls that works on the team there was that made these robots. She was feeding me some statistics about these robots, and it's pretty incredible what they built to try and help promote the electric state. So we knew once we found out that team was going to be there, we had to have a working high frame rate line challenge system ready to go.
Right.
And
oh man.
yeah, it was pretty crazy. We experienced the robots from being on site for the production, but we didn't really get to see it how it was coming through in the broadcast. And for those of you guys that don't know, these robots were actually saying whether the ball was in or out and had some kind of, clever sayings to go with it. What did you think about it from being at home?
I liked it. I thought it was very entertaining and it was funny. Like it added some good humor to it. I like how they would call out that like if the out call was bad, they would say it was a human error or something like that. They were basically saying how the humans were messing up and stuff like that. I thought that was hilarious. It did make me wonder though, because they never mentioned close call replay at all. So at first I was like, oh man, did something happen? Is close call replay like not doing the replays? Because they didn't mention you guys at all. So that part bummed me out a little bit, but I liked the way that they worked in those robots and stuff like that. So I thought it was very clever. But did you guys know that like close call replay wasn't really going to get mentioned much during the thing or at all that I noticed?
I didn't know they weren't going to mention us, but I also didn't think that they would mention us. Okay. The people that put on these productions, right? They're not pickleball people. They're ESPN sports people. So they don't really know pickleball. We don't really have a relationship with them. And it's also it would be atypical for a company to call out a particular technology that's being used, especially when they're trying to get the electric state promoted out there. So I'm not surprised we weren't named, and I wouldn't have expected to be named for that reason. Gotcha. But I got to tell you, man, it wasn't our 240 frames per second system. We didn't have our AI integration. But even at 120 frames per second with our system dialed in the way it is and the fact that we can have these replays pulled up literally within a couple seconds, unbelievable. I can't believe how well it turned out. Everyone was happy. You wouldn't have even known that we were, 12 hours before the event, after being awake for 23 straight hours and running around, you wouldn't have even known that wasn't our full-blown system. So it all worked out in the end. It was a overall great experience. And, that was Close Call Replay's last event that we have booked. We don't have anything else. So that could have been our last event ever, potentially. With the current setup, you know what I mean?
Right. Well, hopefully that's not the case. But, I mean, if worst case scenario it is, I mean, that's going out with a bang, that's for sure. But I will say, like, once they did start calling some line challenges and I saw the replay system, I was like, oh, there we go. That's the close call replay I know and love. I had no idea you guys were going through this issue. This is genuinely the first time I'm hearing about the hectic situation that you guys had to deal with. That is insane.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Big shout out though to Inside Out Sports and Entertainment. They're the group that puts on that event. They're also the ones that do all of the Major League Pickleball events. So it was kind of cool. These are people that we spent a lot of time with on the road over the last 6 months. So it was good to see all of them. I gotta tell you, man, they are an impressive group of guys and girls. Like, they really know how to get shit done.
Nice. So one question I have for you, did you get a chance to meet any of the tennis legends, or were you just too busy working with all the production equipment to even attempt to try to talk to any of them?
Not like personally meet, but I mean, there's interaction as you're running on the floor and stuff like that. Like you have a chance to be able to say hi to them, but there wasn't like a meet and greet or anything like that. At this event this year, which would have been kind of cool.
I definitely would have been a fanboy for sure. I never really followed tennis a whole lot growing up, but everybody that was part of that event, I am very familiar with, and would have been very cool to be able to witness that in person. But yeah, I love these events. I think they're great. I think it's great for the sport. I feel like it's a chance to really get a lot of eyeballs that normally maybe wouldn't tune in, because even if you couldn't care less about pickleball, the fact that these tennis legends are getting involved, I feel like the curiosity factor alone is going to make people want to tune in. And I loved it. It was a 2 hour long thing, and the time flew by to me. I thought it was super fun, very competitive, and I thought they did a great job. The only negative thing that I have to say about it, though, is I do wish that the people that were competing in it would understand the rules a little better, because I feel like every single session in the past, especially with John McEnroe, but this time with Andy Roddick, there's always like arguments going on between them and the refs. I mean, maybe it's part show and stuff just to make it like have some entertainment value, but I feel like to me it makes it almost look a little too amateurish, because like they don't know the rules and stuff, and it makes the production go down a notch, just because if the players don't understand the rules, how do we expect the people tuning in to understand what's going on?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Especially, so this is kind of funny. We were watching Andy Roddick warm up, and anytime he hit a volley, it was like a 50-50 chance whether or not his foot was going to step in the kitchen line. So I knew that Courtney Johnson was going to be calling him a lot during that match, because I'm like, well, that's the thing with tennis players. They're used to, they take a step forward and then they use that to push off, right? So that's just that's their muscle memory. And to undo that is hard. I mean, you even see on the pro level some of these former tennis players slipping back into that way of pushing off the line. So I kind of knew, and I also knew he was going to be kind of a dick about it, just because that's his personality. So that was pretty funny, but Courtney did a great job keeping them straight. I do agree with you. I wish they would teach them the rules. I wish they would tell them there's no ball boys or girls, right? It's not a thing in pickleball. It did kind of make for a funny moment where they brought the two kids down into the court. But I agree with you. They should make sure that these players know that. But my favorite, though, was, did you see the very first challenge that happened during the event?
I did.
So the ball was obviously out. I mean, not obviously. Part of it was still covering the line. But I just think that Andy Roddick, he doesn't understand. It's a pickleball. It's not a tennis ball. If it's over the line when it hits the ground, it has to, there has to be, like a certain percentage of it over for the referee to be able to call that ball in or out. And he was like, look, you're showing me a ball that's in, yet you're calling it out. And
right.
I do agree with you. I think that some of it, like a little bit of it, is funny, but I think it got a little bit too excessive with not knowing the rules. And that led to, I agree with you, kind of a not as great. But I will say this. How many celebrity pro-ams have you seen in the past where some or all of the celebrities are garbage and they're horrible? And to me, I hate those. This one, all six of them could beat you or I. And so that's where I think it becomes more entertaining when the level of play is at least at a certain level. And this event did that better than I think any of the other, celebrity events in pickleball that I've seen.
Yeah, I totally agree. They were great competitors. I loved to see it. And going back to that first line challenge you were talking about, like that was the worst part of the whole thing for me, because Andy like really came across as a dick there. Mm-hmm. And it just, man, like, because anybody who watches pro pickleball, like it was obvious to us that ball was out. And then the fact that he was like, actually, I actually did think it was out until I saw that replay. And then you showed me a ball that's in, like, what is this all about and stuff like that. And just, to me, it just like, it cheapened the event, because it's like, he's like questioning the ref, he's questioning the replay system and stuff like that. And I'm like, dude, like, why are you doing this? Like, you're making yourself look like a jackass. But other than that, I thought everything was great and very entertaining.
Yeah, it was cool. A couple big shout outs to Onisha Smith. She was up there as the video ref with us. Diane, I can't remember her last name. I'm so sorry, Diane. I think she was the second ref out there. And then Courtney Johnson, lead ref. She's the head ref of Major League Pickleball. Courtney knows her shit. She's super cool. And how great was it with her interaction with the pros out there, right? I can't imagine that's an easy job to keep the match going, but also understand that you're mic'd up, you're providing entertainment, and you're going to get heckled by these players. I think she did a great job.
Oh yeah, I love Courtney. I've always been a fan of hers. In the previous 2 events, I love her banter back and forth with the pros. She doesn't take any nonsense from them. She always stands up to them. When I helped you and Kyle with Close Call Replay at the most recent Beer City Open for the Major League Pickleball, it was awesome being able to work with her a bit and her whole crew of refs and see what they do and see how seriously they take it and stuff. But yeah, big fan. I am a very big fan of hers.
Let us know what you guys think down in the comments below. How was the broadcast? What did you guys think? Anything stand out to you? What did you guys think of the robots? We'd love to be able to have a conversation in the comments, so throw it down below. Webby, that's my topic for the week. What do you got for us?
Well, I thought your topic was a great one. And one interesting thing, it kind of ties into my topic, is the Pickleball Slam 3 event. It took place at the Michelob Ultra Arena. And speaking of Michelob Ultra, they had a commercial during this year's Super Bowl, which happened a few weeks ago. And in case anybody didn't see it, it was very pickleball focused, and I loved seeing that. It starred Willem Dafoe and Catherine O'Hara, and I thought that commercial was great. Did you see that one?
I did. I agree with you as well. Even if I wasn't a pickleball fan, I think the commercial as a whole was good. But then when you got to see some of the other pickleball people and the fact that they were playing, even better.
Yeah, it was very well done, very high production value. And it was funny. In case you didn't see the commercial, Willem Dafoe and Catherine O'Hara, they basically were pickleball hustlers. They would go to different pickleball venues. And what was great was they would feature some pro level players in there. And they were like, we're very high level players. And then Willem Dafoe and Catherine O'Hara just like would kick their ass on the court and win their Michelob Ultra and stuff. And they would just go from place to place trying to win and hustle Michelob Ultra from these people. But I just thought it was so well done. And for any of you who saw the commercial and were paying attention, there were some cameos from some pro pickleball players. There was Jaume Martinez-Vic, Emily Cedarquist, Paris Todd, and Hunter Johnson. They all made appearances in the commercial. And there's actually an extended version of the commercial if you go to the Michelob Ultra YouTube channel. It's actually a lot better because it focuses on the players a little more. I think it's a better version than what they showed in the Super Bowl. But yeah, I thought that was probably the best commercial I've ever seen that featured pickleball. What about you?
I totally agree, because here's the thing is a lot of these commercials that feature pickleball, they're usually some like senior healthcare service or some medication for seniors. And usually the level of play, even from these seniors, is horrible. Or it's trying to promote clothing or socks, and they hire these people that don't know how to play pickleball, and anybody that knows how to play pickleball watches them and you're like, that's garbage. That's not the right way to play. They did a good job actually making it look like the actors in this knew how to play pickleball, and I think they said they had never played it before that commercial. Did you hear that too?
I did hear that. So that's a true testament to the directors and the producers of the commercial, because they made sure to make the actors look like they knew what they were doing. And like you said, that is a huge pet peeve of mine in the other commercials that feature pickleball, because sometimes you'll see somebody serve the ball, they'll throw the ball up and serve it overhead, or people will be standing in the middle of the kitchen and then they'll like do some put away shots while standing in the kitchen. And just all these things that real pickleball players know that never happen in actual pickleball games.
I know, it drives me nuts, especially when those commercials are on like a PPA or APP match. It's like, come on, these are pickleball people that are playing this. We all know you can't jump in the air, hit a ball out of it, and land in the kitchen. Why are you showing it in your commercials? Actually reach out to somebody who knows how to play pickleball to actually say, all right, well, listen, I know that this guy can't play pickleball and he's modeling these shorts, no big deal, but at least have them not play incorrectly.
Yeah, I can't understand that. People are paying all this money to make a commercial, and they're like, you know what, pickleball's popular. Let's just have some pickleball people in this video, and they don't even care whatsoever if it represents actual pickleball.
I agree, man. Ah, boy.
The only other commercial I can think of that I thought was really well done, it was from a couple years ago. It was a BetMGM commercial. It featured Jamie Foxx and Barry Sanders. Did you ever see that one?
I do remember that one, yep.
That was a funny one, too, because Jamie Foxx was calling Barry Sanders, and he was asking him some questions about some bets that he should place for some upcoming games on the BetMGM app. And Barry Sanders was getting a pickleball coaching session in while he was talking on the phone. So like during the thing, he's playing pickleball while talking to Jamie, and everything Barry Sanders says is in reaction to what's happening on the pickleball court. Isn't even hearing what Jamie Foxx is saying, but Jamie thinks everything that he's saying is to Jamie. So he's basing all his bet choices on the responses that Barry Sanders gives him. So I thought that was a really funny, good one too. But this Super Bowl commercial for Michelob Ultra was very well done and the best pickleball commercial I've seen so far.
Yeah, I agree. And it's cool. I mean, imagine if you're Jaume, Emily, Paris, or Hunter. You can literally say, I was in a commercial at the Super Bowl, which is very rare. And that's a cool thing for them as well. I think it's great for the sport. It was super cool all around.
And both Paris and Hunter, they won medals that same weekend at the PPA event that was going on. So, like, talk about an epic, like, I feel like that's got to be one of the greatest weekends of their lives. Like, that would be so cool. I'm so happy and proud of them.
Yeah, I agree. It was good for the sport, good for them, good commercial, good all around.
Yep, good stuff. But what about you guys? Have you seen any other pickleball commercials that you like? Let us know, or let us know some of the horrible ones you've seen that do the things that we talk about that we hate when it comes to pickleball being featured in commercials. But that's it for my topic.
Well, Webby, speaking of commercials, when you think of a company out there that has made some of the most epic, best pickleball commercials in the history of pickleball commercials, so much so that you're not looking to change the channel when these commercials pop up, you are dialed in, wondering what's going to happen next. Who can you think of?
Yeah, that is a no-brainer. That is very easy. The answer is Jigsaw Health. Absolutely.
100% Jigsaw Health, guys. These guys are obsessed with pickleball, just like us. So much so that they created an indoor venue, the Orchard at Jigsaw Health. So much so that they created a professional league, the Arizona Pickleball League. So much so that they put out a documentary about a season of the Arizona Pickleball League called Breaking Pickleball on Amazon Prime. Guys, they're a great company, but there's more, okay? Not only are they obsessed with pickleball, they also have a ton of incredible products that will keep you feeling good. I take their products on a daily basis. Webby, I know that you like to be able to stay hydrated using their products. You got to go check them out. JigsawHealth.com. Use coupon code PB4Life10 to get what, Webby?
You'll get yourself 10% off your order and show us some support in the process, which we thank you very much for.
That's right. JigsawHealth.com, PB4Life10. Go check them out. Go get yourself some good Electrolyte Supreme, pickleball cocktail. Anything that they sell is going to be good. Well, that's it. That's the show, but we cannot end it officially until we hear Webby's
closing thoughts.
So what did we learn today? We learned that pickleball can be great for your mental health sometimes. We also learned that thanks to a new PPA rule, you might be hearing, "That's a fine," more regularly. We learned about Eddie's experience at the Pickleball Slam 3 event, and we talked about our new favorite pickleball commercial. But that's going to do it for us here on episode 89 of Dinking Around with Eddie and Webby. I thought it was a very fun one.
I agree, and we only have 11 more until we get to 100. Wow. I can't believe we're still doing this. This is going on. Actually, aren't we pretty close to our 7th anniversary of our first podcast episode? Wasn't it April 2018?
Yeah, we are getting very close. I feel like we need to have some kind of a big blowout special of some sort.
Maybe we'll go live then. I keep bringing it up. I keep hinting it. I do think we should go live again one of these days. I don't know if we'll remember how to do it, but we'll figure it out like we always do.
That's right.
Well, I agree with you. This was a great episode. Guys, let us know if there's any topics you want us to be able to talk about in the future. If you're tuning in on YouTube, please go ahead, hit that like button. Go ahead and share this video too. Throw some comments down below. Let us know any topics you want to talk about. We want to interact with you. And honestly, we've been having a lot of really good interaction lately. So please keep it coming. And on that note, I'm Eddie.
And until next time, this is Webby, not Eddie, signing off.
See ya.
Well, we're dinking around with Eddie and Webby. Dinking around with Eddie and Webby tonight.
yeah.